you've got something in your heart, whatever it is, don't let anything stop you. Because it's one of two things, right? Either, yes, you've got fears. It's normal to be afraid when there's things that you don't know or it's something new. But imagine what it's going to be like when you're lying on your deathbed and you look back and you say to yourself, why the hell didn't I try? Why didn't I go for that one thing that I really, really wanted to do? Most important stop of the morning. Thanks, have a great day. Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining me. Morning Walk episode 69 and welcome to Brisbane today. It's an absolutely cracking little morning at the end of winter. Great day to get out for a walk. I'm actually running late, so I'm already heading to a meeting. Why not show you a little bit of this city and have a chat about a few things. Hope you're doing well. Let's get going. Seriously, if you're not a coffee drinker, I don't know what you're missing out on. I don't know what you're missing out on. I know what you're missing out on, but you don't know what you're missing out on. That's why we drink this stuff. Brisbane really is an awesome city. I don't know if you haven't been here before. It's got so much going for it. To me, it's kind of like about the right size. A few million people. Really nice, compact CBD here, but because it's on the river, it's quite beautiful. Not that, crowded out by tall skyscrapers. You got the magnificent Botanic Gardens just down one end of town. And then pretty easy access to get around here. I don't know. Along with a great climate, it's got a lot of stuff going for it, for sure. There's something about being in a CBD. I'm not really a city person, as maybe you can gather, but these places have this kind of wonderful energy to them. There's so much activity, so many people on their way to work. I don't know, it's like you can almost feel the energy of humanity in this sort of place. And a city about the size of Brisbane, it's kind of about right. There's a lot of stuff that goes on here. We've just arrived at the Queen Street Mall. It's kind of like the central shopping arcade in the middle of Brisbane. Very beautiful little strip, actually. Lots of cool shops, like all the cool big shops that you would sort of expect to see here, but definitely like interspersed with some more like unique varieties. It's one of the kind of things about these big cities all around the world is they're getting a bit vanilla, aren't they? Just because rents in these sort of central areas are getting so expensive that it's kind of only the big established companies that can actually make it work. Like small businesses are just struggling to actually survive here. So I don't know, as a result you kind of end up just with these mega chains, and it kind of detracts a little bit from the city centre, because whether you're in Copenhagen on the main shopping strip or Brisbane on the main shopping strip or Los Angeles on the same shopping strip, it's pretty much all the same. It just seems to have taken some of the colour out of travelling around. And again, what does make these sort of city areas unique is the way that cities have put their personalised touch on it. I mean, look at that there. That's quite extraordinary. If you actually pause and look at it, it's like this big metal facade that's coloured and cut out with butterflies and everything. It's actually beautiful. The thing I think when we walk through these sort of city places day in, day out, or any kind of environment that we're in day out, after a while we just kind of tune out to all this beauty that's around us. It's a bit of a pity, really. Like, look, beautiful blue sky, great city, it's warm, weather's nice. I don't know, I kind of feel like everyone should be smiling today, even if you are on the way to work. I guess the other thing that really strikes me when we're walking through the CBD is seeing all these people on their way to work, how many people kind of look gloomy and unhappy. Now, true, maybe they haven't yet had a coffee. It's definitely a factor. But I don't know, I think so many people kind of get also stuck in routines without really thinking too much about why they're doing what they're doing and if it's right for them. And of course, we've all got personal circumstances, bills to pay. There's a lot of people out there who kind of don't really have any good reason not to change outside of just kind of like fear and being stuck. There's something to be said for breaking routines, right? Over a decade ago, my wife Maureen and I started our first business, AIM Overseas, and now it's quite a large business, something like $5 million, $6 million worth of turnover, so it's quite large, 12 staff. I don't think we ever expected it to be that big, but we started a business for an adventure. And now I kind of have the entrepreneurial blood in me and started the Global Society 3 or 4 years ago, and we have something like 15,000 members who've all studied overseas. And these have kind of become really driving forces in my life. The thing I love about being an entrepreneur is that life becomes really holistic. So many people you see walking around here, they like kind of have the job and then they have their life. And they go to one for 8 or 10 hours a day, and then they go home and they have life outside of work. And it's like you're kind of divided in two. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur and you're owning your own business, it's kind of like, it's all you, it's all yours. So yeah, it means you work a lot. You work on the weekends and after hours, but all of that is part of like the one life that you're creating for yourself, So it's really kind of this special, crazy thing that I certainly never would have thought about if it weren't for my wife, who was like really had the entrepreneur blood in her. And I just wanted to share a couple of stories with you about why, if that's in your heart, like if you feel like you want to start your own business, you should start it now and not in 6 months or in 2 years or in 5 years, but now. I'm going to tell you these stories, but we need to run because we have a ferry to catch. I really don't want to be late for my meetings today. This definitely puts a date on my podcast, doesn't it? my vlog. 2019, a good year. Alright, come check this out, hey? This is a beautiful river that runs through Brisbane. Over that side is South Bank, which is this fantastic park area. Lots of restaurants, cafes, outdoor life. We've even got like this sort of outdoor swimming area for little kids, like wading kind of pool, but done like a beach. It gets hot here, really hot and humid. And then on this side, just behind us, there's like the actual CBD itself. Treasury Building, casino, main motorway that heads all the way down to the Gold Coast. There's a lot going for it, this city. Good size, good vibe. I better go take my ferry. One friend of mine, he's a bit older than I am, so into his 50s now, but he's got the hunger to be an entrepreneur, right? For as long as I've known him, and probably as long as he's lived, he's always wanted to run his own business. And he's always like working on plans and ideas. He's had some really good ideas over the years, actually. He's like done his spreadsheets and kind of worked out the details. But I don't know, just never seems to be able to pull the trigger and actually jump out there and do it. And there's something that's kind of like holding him back. I don't know what it is. Some people are like perfectionists. They want to have all the details right before they kind of jump in and do something like that. But kind of the reality of being an entrepreneur is that you've actually got absolutely no fucking idea at all what's going to work and what's not. And most likely you're going to make a whole bunch of mistakes. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you a lot of time. But like being an entrepreneur is like this incremental process, bit by bit, of working stuff out, working out what works and doing more of it, and then doing less of what doesn't work. So at some point, like, you just got to like pull the trigger on that sort of thing. And I just have this feeling for this friend of mine, this guy I know, that he might just not ever do it. And you know, if I were talking to him right now, I'd say, mate, picture the moment that you're lying on your deathbed and you're literally lying there sucking in your last breaths on this earth, because we only get one chance. Would you look back and have regrets because you never did it? Because you never just kind of stepped out into the unknown and tried that idea? Whatever the idea is, like, maybe it's the wrong idea. Maybe it's something that you're not sure will work. Like, yeah, that's what being an entrepreneur is all about. But that moment, think about that moment when you're literally about to die. And is that feeling that you're going to have going to be one like, you know what, I've had a good life. I've done everything I wanted to do. I tried everything that I possibly could. It wasn't fucking perfect, but I did my best. Or would you be sitting there with regrets, wondering like, damn it, I wish that I'd tried. I wish that whatever it was that kind of held me back in those moments hadn't been so strong. Just step the fuck out there, all right? Just go do it. Because we only get this one chance, this one loop round the solar system as we do. All right, we've made it to the ferry stop. Down river and up river. We're going to be getting on right here, and we're going all the way up to the University of Queensland at Santa Lucia. I have a second friend who is definitely going to run a business one day, like no question. Like, she's super motivated, smart, really good about the details, and exceptionally good at iterating. So basically like trying something and then seeing what works and improving on it over time. And at the moment she's like working in a job that I really don't think she likes very much. Maybe that's even an understatement. Maybe she fucking hates it. And she was saying to me the other day that she's going to stay until she's been there for a year. She's been there 6 months. And I was sort of thinking to myself, okay, I kind of understand why. You know, people think that on your resume, you know, it looks bad that you've only been in a particular job for 6 months or something like that. But what's much more important about that is like the story that you can tell about your experience. So if you only spent 2 months in a place, or 6 months in a place, or even a year in a place, it's much less important, you know, how long you were there as what the story is behind why you stayed or why you left. And I think people overthink this so much. You know, like if you're going on to have another job, the person who's reading your resume, honestly, they don't give a shit if you only stayed for 6 months, as long as you have an interesting story or a relevant story as to why you bailed from that place after 6 months. And in the case of my friend, she's totally going to be an entrepreneur. She's totally going to run her own business. And it's one of those things, like, she's younger than me, no family, no kids. It's kind of like the perfect time to actually jump out and have a go at something. So the second thing I'd say is, like, don't let other people's perceptions and biases, or this shit that society throws at us. You know, like, society tells us all the time that we have to follow these kind of rules, and you must have an experience on your resume for 1 year, otherwise it's no good, it's not relevant experience. Bullshit. Like, anything that's helped you learn and grow is relevant experience that will help you move into the future. So don't be so worried about what other people think, and don't be so worried about what society tells you is right or wrong. It's your story that freaking matters. So as long as you own your story and you can tell your story and explain why you've done certain things, the rest doesn't actually matter. Because let's face it, like, if you end up working for somebody for whom that is important, they don't care about you. They care about some sort of bullshit story that society expects them to hear. That's not somebody that you actually want to work for. Let's be honest. Anyway, that's my message for today, I reckon. Beautiful morning here on the river, heading up to the University of Queensland. And like, don't let things hold you back. If you've got something in your heart, whatever it is, like, don't let anything stop you. Because it's one of two things, right? Either, yes, you've got fears. It's normal to be afraid when there's things that you don't know or it's something new, but imagine what it's going to be like when you're lying on your deathbed and you look back and you say to yourself, why the hell didn't I try? Why didn't I go for that one thing that I really, really wanted to do? Or the opposite is also true. Like, why did you take so long to get started? Because of some narrative that society put in place, other people's opinions, other people's thoughts, other people's fucking problems that held you back. Don't let other people's problems be your problems. Like, just go for it. It's pretty freaking cool, isn't it? And having had that beautiful little rant, I'm going to sit down and enjoy this lovely little ferry ride. Whatever you're getting up to today, I hope it's a good one. I'm Rob, and I'll see you next time on the morning walk. Bye! Yoo-hoo!